Hi guys, welcome back to the Forgetful Scholar. This week we're going to chat about two books. Two books this week, guys. So I have just a bit of innocent burglary and girl, wait, what? How? Okay. So this week it's kind of like a mystery week, I think, because I read a contemporary romance with a mystery subplot, and then I read a cozy mystery with there was a little romance subplot in there. And I'm happy I did that this week because I could clearly see the differences, in a romance with suspense and mystery elements, and then a cozy mystery with a little bit of romance sprinkled in. You know what I mean? So I enjoyed that. So the first book is okay, so it's MM contemporary or boy love or gay romance. A Murder at Pirates Cove, Secrets in Scrabble, Book 1 by Josh Lanyon. And I like that. And you see the cutlass has a little bit of blood dripping down. I enjoy the composition of this cover. So this is 4 stars. I really enjoyed it. Okay, so we're in Ellery's, his point of view. And I really enjoyed him because he's this super awkward little adorable beansprout, right? So his great aunt passes away and leaves him her home and her bookstore, her mystery bookstore, and he in Rhode Island. And was in Manhattan, and his ex-boyfriend cheated on him, and he just needed a fresh start. And he tried his hand at being an actor, can't act. Tried his hand at being a playwright. Apparently he failed at that too. We don't really get a lot of details on that instance. So he decides, okay, I'm going to go to Pirate Cove and start over, right? So the book opens basically him being accosted, yelled at. Okay, so this guy, I forget his name. He's the murdered guy, and Trevor. Okay, Trevor basically owns half of Pirates Cove. He's trying to buy his little mystery bookshop, Ellery's little mystery bookshop. And Ellery doesn't want to sell. Even though, sales are in the toilet, he put so much money into renovating it. He's trying to renovate the house that his aunt left him. He doesn't want to give up yet. You know what I mean? And I actually posted one of the sentences on my Instagram because it was such a nice profound sentence, and it kind of reminded me that you could find wisdom anywhere, because who would thought would find wisdom in a silly little romance book. But there we go. It was let's see if I could paraphrase, because I don't have it in front of me to recite verbatim, so forgive me if I get it a little wrong. But the essence is if you put everything you got into something and it fails, that's not failure. It's if you don't really put effort into something, that's failure, And I was like, oh, that's such a good line, So Ellery is new, and he's sort of the only LGBTQ plus person in town, at least he thinks so. So he's a little lonely. His bookstore's not doing good. And I love the description because he even says internally it was just a quirk of genetics why he's so good looking. And so he thought he could be an actor, but no, he can't act because he can't lie. He's horrible at it. So I like how people kind of expect him to be confident and suave and everything. And he's just, because the way he looks. But internally he's just oh God, why are people looking at me? What are human emotions? What should I do? I love when that comes up. I do. It's just a nice little difference. You know what I mean? Because the stoic badass hero is a lot of fun. You guys know I love that. But I also love a neurotic little bean too. I do. It's just a nice, refreshing change of pace, right? So basically, he has dinner at the pub, and he's always gets freaked out because the sheriff always eats at this cute little pub. And the sheriff was always staring at him. And he's like, okay, the sheriff's straight, right? He has a wedding ring. He hasn't heard anything that he's not straight, but he's getting a little ping on his gaydar, and he's very confused, and he thinks the sheriff is very handsome. But he gets freaked out because every time they cross paths, the sheriff's always staring at him. And Boo, me too. I'll be freaked out so much. Like, are you kidding me? I remember I went to a birthday party of a friend of mine, and her, their spouse at the time, was in law enforcement. And so all the law enforcement buddies were there, right? And they kept saying like, oh, kept coming up to me and be like, you're familiar, do I know you? And I'm like, no, sir, you do not. Like, I was just like, no, you do not know me. Like, I got so freaked out because like when a law enforcement officer is like staring at you, you get freaked out. It's not like, it's not a moment. It's a like, oh, I want to get out of here moment. You know what I mean? Anyway, I digress. So he comes back from dinner, and who has the audacity to be horribly murdered in his store? Trevor. Don't feel bad. Trevor's an ass. We didn't like Trevor from the beginning. The author did a great job of making sure that Trevor is not someone we give a shit about. So that's cool. Is murdered in his store. And he is the prime suspect because he's murdered in his store, and they were seen having an altercation just before Trevor was killed. Even though he was having dinner at the pub, but apparently happened between the time he closed up and walked to the pub, because he walks around, because this is it sounds like a very cute town, a town I would love to go visit, where you're not allowed to drive on the main street, you know, so he took a nice little stroll before dinner. So 6:30, right when he has no alibi, the guy is killed. How dare he? So basically, we follow Avery on this just convoluted path to figure out what happened. And I liked it a lot because we really, the writer did a great job of us getting to know these eccentric characters in the town without being heavy-handed. We really get a sense of Avery, how he interacts with people and how he's like he doesn't know. He's like, oh God, how do I respond? I know, I'll give him the big toothy smile that usually gets me out of stuff for one reason or the other. Like, I like that a lot, you know? And there's a couple moments when he's at his old Victorian, or was it Queen Anne inspired house? I think it was a Victorian house that he's fixing up, and he finds all these secret passageways and stuff. And sometimes, like, here and there's like a little creepy moments. Not super creepy, but scary stuff written in a book I'm a baby bitch about. You guys know that. I'm like, oh my God, that's so scary. Especially when it comes to home invasion stuff. Haunted stuff, whatever. Home invasion stuff, that's just too real. You know what I mean? That's just too real. Yeah. And I really liked the part where he's like, oh, I'm just imagining it. I'm letting my imagination get, like, run wild. Nothing's in the house. Turns out, yes, someone was in the house. But that part got me, because like, how many times do we do that? You know what I mean? Disregard our instincts is just like being stupid fears, and then like, oh no. I don't want to give too much away, even though this was an older book. I don't know when exactly it was first published, but I think the series itself is finished. But I don't want to give too much away because the mystery was fun. I have to say, like, I enjoyed following the path for him figuring it out. I enjoyed all the characters, especially this older woman that he hires on at the bookstore. I especially like that because, you know, I don't know how old she is. She's retired, and she's like, I'll just work for free because I really need something to do. And like, I have a lot of family members that are kind of that age, and they just work because they want their mind occupied. So I don't know. She just really hit the mark. I was like, oh, sweetie, I love her, you know? The cast of characters, so much fun. I will say the actual what happened, I thought was a little stupid. And was I satisfied with the ending? Sure. But looking back on it, because you know how I do with mysteries, I read it, and then with the answer, I look back and see if there was enough clues for us, the reader, to figure out. And there really wasn't. You know what I mean? That's why it's a 4-star, because everything else I enjoyed so much. And as like cozy mystery, romance kind of tropes, he gets a dog. calls him Watson. I love Watson. He's the best, you know, and I won't hear anything about it. Turns out the sheriff is, he's a bike icon. We love it. We love to see that. Some diversity, you know what I mean? Because bisexuals exist. So that's great to see. So they kind of had this flirty thing going on, but I liked how the sheriff was like, we can't do anything forward with this. We have to distance ourselves because I have to investigate and I have to be like no sign of being impartial, you know, or biased, because unfortunately someone is trying to frame our dear sweet little bean Avery. Not Avery, sorry, Ellery. It's Ellery. Ellery? Our sweet little Ellery. I enjoyed myself. I liked it. I liked it a lot. I had fun. I'm gonna look into more of this author. I'm gonna look into more of this series. I'm enjoying it. So that was great. So that was fun, especially after that horrible slump I've been fighting against. So the next book, if I could bring it up, if my Kindle stopped being, okay. So the next book is The Kensington Kidnap, an Epiphany Bloom Mystery Book 1 by Gayle. Okay, here we go. And Gayle is actually two different writers. They write in tangent. They write together. Katie Sidley and Gayle Schmill. I'll probably write it down because I know I did not pronounce the correct last name on the second one, and I'm so sorry. I really enjoy your books though. This is a 4-star, and this is a girl, what, why, how, what? Because Epiphany Bloom, or Pip, the little tidbits of what like her past is completely enthralled me. I was like, what is going on? And this mystery, after it all came to light, this mystery had a lot of clues for us to follow along. So I really enjoyed that mystery. And this is a cozy mystery with a little bit of like maybe a romance subplot in there. The first one was a romance novel with a little bit of suspense and cozy mystery in it. And it was very different because the first book really focused on Ellery and his attraction to the sheriff and him being lonely and like much more emotional, and the maybe romance between him and the sheriff was much more prominent, right? Where in this one, the mystery took full stage, and the crush she has on Tim, who will explain who that is in a second, and Jimmy was sort of secondary, you know? Very secondary. Very, very secondary. To the point where like she's trying to figure out this mystery, and then you see she gets distracted by Jimmy's biceps or gets distracted by Tim's sweet shining eyes. You know, things like that. So it was very like almost a device to show how ADD Pip is, which I thought was kind of a lot of fun. Well, I thought it was a lot of fun. So this was 4 stars. There's only one critique, and it's not even a critique. I don't like the cover. That's it. I don't like the cover. And like that doesn't even freaking matter, right? But I'm not a fan of the cover. And that's it. Everything else, loved it. Did I like how they portrayed Americans? Not so much. Did I let it slide because this is like Hollywood, Hollywood actress American? I was like, okay, I'll let it slide. You know, because I've never met like a big Hollywood actor, so maybe they are creepy, narcissistic robots like that. So, you know. Okay, so this follows Maddie. He is kidnapped. He is the son of a famous novelist, American novelist, and a Hollywood actress. How does Pip get involved in this? Because she's the classic, can't seem to keep down a job, you know, like just weird stuff happens to her, you know, like a throwaway line. She accidentally joined a cult for a day. She accidentally dated an arms dealer. In one line where she's trying to get out of a certain situation, she's like, I just have to be confident. It worked to get across the Iraq border. It'll work here. And I'm like, what? Girl, I need to know all about you. And I love every second of it. I love Pip. I want to know every second of it. And she is so horny. Like, well, she just gets so distracted by good-looking guys. Like, it's like she can't help it. You know, even when she knows this guy is like one of the bad guys, she's still like, but he's so George Clooney, I can't help it. It's like, girl, buy some batteries or something, because girl, you gotta work this out, right? Whew. So her rent is due, and Tim is her flatmate, roommate, and her landlord. And she has a crush on him. And I'm just like, ooh, that is such a sticky situation. Like, already I'm like, no, don't go there, because, ooh, you know? And I don't know how long she's been living there, but he's never shown any interest in her until this book. Which I know that's classic kind of stuff, but also I'm like, well, if you were been there for like a year and he hasn't shown any interest in you, maybe he's just not interested. Also, really, like, honestly, not a good situation to start out in. You don't want to start dating your roommate. You definitely don't want to start dating your landlord. This can only end in homelessness and tears. Maybe that's just because of my own romantic history, probably, but you know, some free advice from me to you, you know? He seems very sweet and everything, but still. He's asked for her rent that's past due. She can't seem to keep a job. And at first I didn't really particularly like her because she seems a little bit spoiled in the first couple of chapters. But then once she kind of gets in her usual, I guess, Pip fashion, falls into this investigation, she really grew on me then. And you could see the growth from like the first paragraph where she's bitching that her mom won't give her money to like the second chapter where she's like, can't talk, super busy. Sorry, can't talk, super busy. Like, you see the difference, you know, and I like that. I really like that, you know. It kind of shows like how it was a great device to show how aimless she was. And then when she found something she could really not only be good at, but just spoke to her calling, if you will, how like dedicated she was to it. Cause she worked day and night, you know what I mean? So she begs a former boss who's in charge of a temp agency to get her a job because her rent is past due, and the woman doesn't want to give her a job because apparently she kidnapped an animal for a vet clinic. But when you hear the story from Pip's side, you're like, oh yeah, I would do the same thing. So like, apparently it's her cat who's called Most. He has 3 legs. So apparently the owners of the cat ran him over and they didn't pick him up because they didn't want to pay the bill. So he was just left there, and I guess the vets were, I mean, I would adopt the cat, not so much kidnap it, so I don't know why she couldn't adopt the cat, like what was going on there. But it also shows how impulsive she is, and she is impulsive. And I liked how that stayed true through the whole book, you know what I mean? She was impulsive from the beginning. Her past random shit that she tells you, throwaway lines, she was impulsive then, and she's still impulsive at the end of the book. Like, I like that. I like that consistency. Because sometimes, like, the more juvenile character traits disappear. So I like that it kept throughout the book. So she goes to this investigation, this private eye that's called Boston Investigations. It's like a big firm. They think she is a psychologist specialist. She is not. She doesn't have a chance to like, and she really didn't have a chance to correct the assumption because the guy, like the boss, totally just talked over her, wasn't really listening. Like it really was like a very frustrating moment that I'm sure everybody has encountered with like a higher up. You know what I mean? They just won't listen. They don't give you a chance to talk. And then if you talk, and then you're like, if I say how wrong they are in front of all these people, I'm probably going to get in trouble. Or, you know, I'm going to be in a hostile work environment. So I get it why she didn't speak up then. I kind of felt bad for the woman she impersonated until I didn't anymore. And I don't want to give too much away because this is a mystery first. But I liked how not everybody was who they seemed. So I really enjoyed that. I will say I really enjoy the secondary character that I'm going to talk about. So she goes to investigate and she does a really good job. Like she just has a mind for this kind of thing. And like he says, he's going to this boxing club. So she goes to this boxing club. She meets Jimmy, who I adore, and is like the other person in this triangle. And you know me, I don't like romantic triangles. I find them very juvenile. They're just like a cliche in the, you know, young adults kind of fiction. I'm not a fan. Another market, like real romance novels don't do this kind of thing. Like I think I went on a rant before, like if there is a triangle, one of them either turns out to be the bad guy or they get their own book in that series. You know what I mean? So I like Jimmy a lot. She kind of assumes all these things about him because he's covered in tattoos. And I'm like, honey, no. Tattoos don't mean shit anymore. But she just thinks he's like, I can't. Turns out he's like, and you guys know it, like grumpy, but like sweetie. He's such a sweetie. I'm rooting for Jimmy because there's none of that messy roommate landlord bullshit going on, you know? So I'm rooting for Jimmy. She meets Jimmy and he's in and out of this book and I hope he continues to be a returning character. She gets swept up in this eco cult that's actually for like a plastic making company that is trying to like make people think plastic is good for the environment. Like it's a very interesting premise. Like I was like, oh, cult, sure. Like right away I was like, oh yeah, cult, sure. But like what the cult was about was fascinating and how they were using social media stars. Like it was really interesting. And it really had like a commentary how like then when this was written Twitter, now stupid fucking X, whatever, how like just because something is trending and doesn't mean that it's actually the truth. You know what I mean? So I really enjoyed that. She figures out the mystery and she kicks butt in the last scene, even though she doesn't think she can. Girl, believe in yourself because you were awesome. Everything has a good, happy ending. The mom of Maddie's still super creepy because she acted like she didn't have any emotions. And then when she saw her son, Pip was like, man, this seems like I'm watching a movie. It doesn't feel real, especially compared to the father that was crying all the time for his son, super worried, talked to Pip constantly for updates, telling her everything, even embarrassing things, just in case, you know, it would help him find his son. So like the father really, you know, and you see such a difference between the father and the mother. The father really was worried about him. And even Maddie, when he's found, he like tells his dad he missed him too. It's very sweet. So it was a fun ending. I enjoyed it. I'm going to continue to read Katie Gale's stuff. And like if it really did, because I love when books kind of take you away and the outside world kind of fades away and it's like you're just in the book, right? And I was like, man, I would watch the hell out of this. If this was a show, because this just really felt like their other book that I read, An English Country Murder. This one too had this great ability to just feel like I'm watching a BBC cozy mystery taking place. Like one of their mystery, like their cozy mystery shows. That's what it really felt like. And I was like, I would watch the hell out of this. I would like binge watch the fuck out of this. I really enjoyed myself. So there we go. I'm gonna go now. So I don't want too much time for me to get back to the real world. Like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you later. Bye.